Skinner, Dean and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio. I'm with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. Why don't you text us on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or you can email the show directly through the Absolute Radio website. We're in Manchester.
Yeah.
Wow. So, what about that?
It's very state-of-the-art in this studio.
Isn't it? It's lovely.
From where I'm sitting now, I can see what I think is probably the Manchester Ship Canal. Is that right?
Yeah.
I thought it was man's inhumanity to man, is what I could see.
No, I think it looks beautiful, and it's symbolic of the pathway which brought great industry and effort from this city to the rest of the country.
Of course, the Midlands canals, they're symbiotic, aren't they?
There's what, we were on it before about facts that people tell you as if they're new facts, but everybody knows them.
Uh-huh.
Birmingham, what do you think the fact is I'm thinking of?
Oh, is this...
More canals than Venice.
More canals than Venice.
Everybody tells you, Birmingham has got more. Yes!
The taxi driver this morning said there's a nice canal there, I'll show you.
Where was he from?
That was the same as your impersonation of me. I don't like the idea that I'm doubling up jobs. I'm driving you in and...
It was kind of a similar accent.
I do like the idea of someone offering to show you a canal.
Yeah, mainly changed from puppies. What about this studio? It's so state-of-the-art, Frank. It's very Ibiza Uncovered in here, isn't it? It's quite ravey.
It's lovely.
I like it.
Anyway, here we are.
Commute.
Why are we in Manchester, you're asking? I was asking. I think we were all asking. No, I'm on tour at the moment, so I was in Preston, which is nearby.
Yeah.
Last night, and I'm in Preston tonight. So it was just crazy to go back to London. So here we are, and this is my second time in Manchester this week.
Is it?
I just can't leave Manchester alone. I'm like Sir Alex Ferguson.
You just can't quit Manchester.
I'm just lingering around, looking down and being a brooding presence.
What about I got the train down with Daisy and Charlie, and we sat down, Frank. I'm not going to lie, it was first. And
Nice.
a businessman was there.
Sweet.
You got first, did you?
Yeah, I insisted.
Okay.
And we went down, and I said, just FYI, I'm your worst nightmare. I said, I did. Didn't I say that, Daisy? I said, we have loads of bags and we talk a lot. He laughed.
I moved.
A few minutes later, we heard the guard came over and went, down here, sir. We can move you down here.
Oh, no.
He moved.
Good for him. Good for
And
him.
then the guard said, would you like to see a canal? Everyone on the train was thinking, yeah, we know a canal we can show you. Well, I think it's lovely to be here, isn't it?
Yeah, I'm very excited.
I like it. We haven't had an away day for a very long time, so it's...
I love it. I
It's
love
a team bonding exercise. That's what you make it sound like in a way.
I think it is a bit like that. I think maybe we should pretend to be animals of our own choice after.
Oh, okay. I do that anyway on Saturday mornings, just none of you have picked up on it.
No. I thought there was an element of koi poo about you.
Fun?
It's an animal. My tooth is so jagged on the inside. I was eating a wasabi
No offence,
pea.
but I didn't notice.
Yeah. No, it's on the inside anyway. I was eating a wasabi pea at Euston Station on my way to Manchester.
Oh.
And suddenly I felt a loud crack go on in my mouth. And I basically split a big piece off my tooth.
Oh, what happened then?
And then it was loose, but it was still dangling by a thread, so it was there for a couple of days, when they do that. And then a
couple of days?
Yeah.
Because normally you go and get it fixed, darling.
No, I don't.
Had media appointments.
Exactly. Rushed off my feet.
Hanging off on
he
the
had
thread.
a big shoot for Hello magazine to do.
I was in Aldershot earlier in the week. We stopped off at the Big Fry, which is...
God, you've got about this week, haven't you?
It's an award-winning... It won an award. It's a fish and chip shop. Won an award for Best Loved Small Business in the UK.
Lovely.
Oh.
And I had fish and chips there, and I swallowed... the tooth came out in a mouthful of cod, and I swallowed it.
This is one of the worst stories you've ever told.
No, I wonder if it's dangerous, though, to swallow...
Morning, listeners. Enjoy your breakfast.
Yeah. I'm just worried it's going to come back and bite me on...
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
What about when I said to that man in Manchester yesterday? Great accent. Anyway, as I was saying,
You
Daisy,
never said that.
I did. Is that bad? It's a great accent. I love it.
When I arrived at the station this morning, Emily was just getting out of her cab and saying, "My friend will come and pay you."
I did say that.
Wow.
So yes, I did BBC Breakfast on Monday, just gone, which is in Manchester.
Salfordian.
Yes, Salford. And my thing is that when I say that when I see live cricket on the television, I'm absolutely astonished by the technology that we can see and watch in colour what is happening on another continent. It's the moment when I'm struck by the wonders of the modern world. It was the opposite when I did BBC Breakfast.
Oh, no.
They gave me it was a dressing room. I think it's where they take people who are ill. But apparently no one gets ill there before 9 o'clock in the morning. So I was allowed to use it as a dressing room. And it's got a massive big TV in it.
Oh.
That sounds good.
And I thought, excellent. And they said, it's good to watch the programme before you go on the telly in case there's any back references to anything. I said, it's great. So to put it on, honestly, this telly was 50 yards from where they were sitting on the sofa. That's the distance from. It was the worst reception. I'm going to put a picture of it on our website. It was one of those.
Really?
It was like, those Japanese. It was pixelated.
Yes.
It was very heavily pixelated, and when you watch occasionally it goes. It was
terrible.
Like there's a dolphin doing the voiceover. Oh. It was awful. And outside I could see these giant dishes that were broadcasting it around the world. And I couldn't get it 50 yards away.
Oh.
And relax.
But it all went well, though.
Well, I arm wrestled Bill Turnbull.
Is that true?
Did you?
Yeah. Because I said to him, they were on about, this thing now that you have to have one woman on a panel show.
Oh, yeah.
This is the rule. Can I say I've always done that policy in my own shows? But nevertheless, I said to Louise, I said, if you weren't here, me and, it'd become like Fight Club. Me and Bill would be arm wrestling. And at the end...
This on air?
Yeah, and then Bill went in for an arm wrestle, and he went in as a jokey arm wrestle at the end. But you know what? He wanted to beat me on camera. I could tell he really went big time on the arm wrestle.
He's got it in him, definitely.
He still wanted to beat me after all that.
Yeah.
Did he? Did he, Buffalo? Anyway, that was that. I did an on-air... I had to improvise a haiku poem.
Did you?
Very difficult.
Yeah.
That's not something I would imagine you'd be asked to do on BBC Breakfast.
Yeah, it had gone a bit strange by then. Yeah, and it's a bit like Bruce. You know when Bruce on Strictly, God bless him.
Well, not for much longer.
I know, but he became a loose cannon and he just used to talk about anything and stuff. I loved it. It's fantastic.
Was he like Last Days of GMTV?
It was a bit like that.
Yeah.
And I did a haiku about them, and it ended, I am you. That was the last bit of it.
Sounds deep.
Yeah, it was deep. I think they were startled and a little afraid.
Did it make sense?
It's made sense in a profound philosophical way. It wasn't one of my great works. But the fact, that I am, in that moment, I was them in that I joined in their world. Do you see?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do, but keep it light, love.
Okay, you're right. Okay, I just thought, we're away. We might as well...
There's lots of people excited to be seeing you, Frank.
Yeah.
Are there?
Chris Brown, very excited to be seeing the great at Frank on the Radio at Prest Guildhall tonight.
Yeah.
There you go.
I always find with these things the anticipation is often better than the actual experience.
Enjoy the show, Chris.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
We don't really do requests on the show, but somebody has texted a request saying, can you play Ocean Colour Scene? And we've just played Cooler Shaker, so we could just say, well, that's...
Not an absolute 80s we haven't, where so many people listen to this.
Yeah, that's why it's hard to do requests, really, isn't it? Because the decade stations are staggered.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
And so am I.
792 has texted us. This is Oliver from Manchester. Hi, guys. Just to let Frank know that swallowing a piece of your tooth is completely harmless. I'm no dentist. But I swallowed...
No, see, I'm glad then, because I was starting to think, at last, some professional advice.
No. Oliver says, I swallowed many a piece of tooth from time to time. He doesn't say whether they're his own canines.
Yeah.
I hope you like it here. P.S. I hope you like it here. Maybe you can show me the canal later, Oliver.
Well, well, that's good news, though, because I was thinking, about would my digestive juices take on anything as hard as a tooth?
I think they would.
But then someone was telling me, a friend of mine, that his son, they did an experiment at their school. One of the kids, their tooth came out, as is the way with kids.
Yeah.
And they got two tooths. You see, you've got me saying tooths now. I was used to say tufts. And they put one in a glass of water and one in a glass of Coca-Cola.
Oh, yeah.
Over the weekend.
Oh.
When they got back on Monday, one in the water, as you'd expect, completely normal. Other tooth, gone.
Was it?
Gone.
Totally gone.
There's anyone from Coca-Cola listening? This is hearsay, obviously. I don't have any hard and fast chemical proof of this.
Just get veneers, it's fine. Stephen Manfredi says, will Alan be showing you around his favourite haunts? Poundland, Pound World, 99p store, #thrifty.
Ouch. That's unfair. Unfair.
Is it unfair?
It is a bit, yeah.
Oh, it's a bit unfair. I'm shouting you down already.
I went to the Arndale yesterday, lovely.
Right. I prefer the northern quarter in Manchester. See?
Okay. Bit of local material for you there.
I'm not the thrifty one that my reputation is painted.
Well, here's something you might be able to help me with, though, Alan. This is your area,
yeah,
I think.
Yeah, okay. Let's go for it.
When I was in Manchester earlier in the week, I was very hungry on the train.
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And, those Cornwall pasty stores that we get at railway stations?
Mm-hmm.
So I was going to get a pasty, and the person I was with said, "Oh, it's 20 to 10. And I said, yeah. And she said, I don't know. It's up to you. I personally wouldn't eat a pasty before 10.
Really?
But people are like that.
Yeah.
Have you never done that?
No, people have rules there.
People
like
say
if you
stuff,
want a whiskey or something.
Yeah, exactly. When people say stuff like chips for breakfast.
Yeah.
Where does that come from? That there's certain times in the day that you're supposed to have food.
Surely that's one of the pleasures of being an adult. You can just eat when you like, what you like, or not at all, if you like.
Sometimes I'll get in late and have a couple of Weetabix.
Oh, really?
What about cake in the morning? Oh, there's nothing finer.
See, I like savoury foods in the morning. I quite like,
When you're in
leftovers.
France and you get, like, boiled ham and stuff on the breakfast.
Yeah, I'm all over that sort of stuff. Pizza, everything.
I don't understand. Well, I was in Japan once for a month, and when you get up
Hate Japan. Absolutely hate Japan.
Oh, for goodness sake.
I just don't like it as a country.
Okay, well, I liked it.
I like Japanese people. I don't like the country.
And one of the things about it is when you have breakfast in the hotel, it's just like every other meal. There's no special breakfast food in Japan. Mm-hmm. You just have sushi and...
Yeah.
And all that tempura.
Well, that's what you were like in Manchester train station. It's 9:40. But it also depends on how long you've been up, doesn't it? If you get up at 9:15 and have a Cornish pasty, that's weird at 9:40. But if you get up at 6 and do a breakfast show interview, then by the time you're eating, it's like lunchtime anyway. Isn't it?
Was there lettuce on the pasty?
Lettuce?
Latticing. You know the latticing on the top of it?
Do you get that on pasties?
Yes.
No, pork pies, you get it.
No, there's latticing.
Come on, you've been the most terrible fool.
I really haven't. In the central section, I'm calling it the central reservation area, there's a latticing on a pasty.
Well, that's my seat that's squeaking, everyone.
Simply no. I'm not. If anyone's ever seen latticing on a pasty,
and if
then I don't mean a
text
pasty
us on HL15.
I don't mean a pasty as worn by a burlesque dancer. I mean the edible kind. Then do text in because no.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
It would appear that it's not just the government that have had a Pastygate issue.
We've had one now.
It's us, yeah, I think.
So Frank said there definitely is no latticing on a pasty. He says, I've made a terrible fool of myself.
Oh, God.
568.
Here we go.
Just remind everyone again what he said. 568. I'm with Emily. The posh pasty has it. So much better.
Yeah, I don't think that person can be trusted because they've written pasty, P-A-S-T-I-E.
There you go.
Hello, I'd like a pasty, please. Good luck.
How dare you say that about someone who's joined in?
I like Vince's text, which just says crimping, not latticing. That's what they mean.
Crimping, you get round.
On,
It's a crossed work.
Yeah, on a Cornish pasty, it would
It's a
have
crust
crimping,
work.
not
But
latticing.
latticing is open, isn't it? You can
Exactly,
see, you
that's
can
a
see
pie.
the innards.
That's a pie.
Exactly, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about proper... well, no, I don't think you can see, Charlie.
Oh, you're squirming
No,
like
I'm not
a worm in a
This is
hook.
back-
You just
Peddling.
don't like it because there is a posh pasty, isn't there?
Well, have we established that? I don't think so.
312 says swallowing a bit of tooth will be harmless. The acid of your digestive system will erode it away.
Really?
I'm no professional,
They're all at it now.
but no science and have studied eating disorders.
There used to be...
Lattice work on a pasty, isn't that just like a steak bake?
Lovely.
That's better than
Oh,
Ken.
no.
Like a steak bake, but that's not a pasty.
like a steak bake, touch for the very first time.
Do you know the haiku?
I love that song.
Poetry
It
chorus.
was one of her best.
It really
She
was.
could do it now. She could hold up her arms and say it like a steak bake. Touch for the very last time. I love Madonna's forearms. They like... they've got cabling in there. You know when you strip open a wire and you can see the individual cables?
Yeah,
It's
where's
like
the
that.
earth?
Yeah. I'm thinking she might have some droid work done.
One of the least measured texts that we've had is lattice on a pasty, no.
Is that from Morrissey?
Lattice on a pasty,
pasty, I know.
It's against nature and it's against God. Emily is a pasty heretic.
Proud to be so.
Well, I think the tide's with me, Em. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, but at least things have moved on from you've made a very great fool of yourself.
Well, I don't know if they've moved on from that. I think that's a basis on which they've been built on. What has been built a mighty tower.
Is that the bedrock? So you did your little gig last night.
I did one of my little shows.
How did it go? Did you have a little epiphany?
No.
Okay.
I can't remember what her name was. No. Those days are gone. There must be a girl out there called Epiphany nowadays. There's got to be.
Yeah.
Isn't it less stressful not having the groupies?
Oh, it's much easier.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, the logistics is just easy.
Yeah.
You don't have to do
They put you on Instagram now as well.
You know,
I mean, let's not talk about that,
sheepdog
but-
thing when you have to separate one off from the group.
Right.
Oh, you have to get them away from the herd, don't
I'm
you?
so glad that that's gone. Especially with my back. No, I don't miss it, I must say.
And then you have to give them the speech.
Yeah,
So I won't call you.
Anyway. Let's not dwell too much on it, after all. I tell you where I played a theatre the other night, and it was the theatre where there's a plaque there, and it was the last ever appearance in this theatre by Billy Fury.
Oh, I love Billy Fury. I used to, I should say.
Last night a million stars. Billy Fury, yeah. Ronald Wycherley was his real name.
Oh, was it?
Oh, yeah. I used to be quite a Fury fan. I took Fury Monthly for a while.
Did you?
I remember in Fury Monthly, this is how stars have changed, right? Billy Fury said, it was an update, a little Fury update, and it said, he used to write a little bit in there, I don't know if he actually wrote it, but he said, little update on my all-black outfit. And I thought, oh, what's this? And he says, I've already got the trousers and the shirt, I'm just, and a jacket. I'm looking for a black tie and some black socks. I got the shoes. And it was over the month he was assembling an all-black outfit. Like, over a period of about 3 months.
It's not that difficult, though, is it? Like,
No,
it's nice
not that diff. Maybe it was then.
Do you think he was hinting? Do you think he was sort
Well-
of like, hey, if anybody wants
If
to
anyone's
send
got
me
any
some
black socks.
I'm in the market for a pair.
That was the thing in those days. I love that.
Billy Fury went all beggy.
But anyway, it was great that there was to play. I did feel slight excitement that Billy
Yes.
Fury had done his last. And so I just thought what might be a good texting is if people know any places that have sort of weird associations with celebrities or famous people, like Lavender Corner. Do you know there's a place near Absolute where we saw Ian Lavender
Before my time,
Dad's
but I
Army.
know that you've mentioned
We saw him on all fours on the corner of the street. And I always think of that now as...
It will always
as
be Lavender Corner.
Yeah. There ought to be a plaque there.
We should say he fell over.
Well, we don't know. We didn't see him fall. He was just there. He might have just been...
Crawling.
He was having a crawl around the block.
Could be his commute, yeah.
There should be a plaque, but on the floor, so Ian could read it next time he's in town.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.
That thing that you were talking about of particular places having a certain resonance. I was once in the East End of London with my friend Paul, and we drove past the pub, and he just went, that's the pub that Michael Barrymore came out in, and it's obviously a landmark for him.
Oh, is that right?
Fantastic. Is there a plaque there?
I don't think there is a plaque there, no. But
That's brilliant.
yeah.
I didn't know he came out in a pub. We've all done it.
Apparently it was like a karaoke type thing, and he got up and announced it. I might have got that wrong now, wouldn't that be
No,
awful?
I remember it vividly.
That's pretty...
It's all right. I don't think he'll sue.
It's a little bit, yeah.
Yeah. I did a gig. You probably gigged there yourself. There's a comedy club in Shepherd's Bush
Oh, yes.
called the Ginglick.
Yeah, I used to compare that very regularly.
I think we've worked there together. In
That's
fact.
right, yeah.
And it used to be a public toilet, and it was the public toilet where Wilfred Bramble, who played Albert Steptoe, was arrested for impugning. I love the idea of stepping in his
I
comedy.
don't get that so much anymore.
His comedy footsteps.
You're right.
No,
You
I don't know.
I blame George Michael.
What they've done is they've made other arrangements. Anyway,
It's Stedman from Five Star as well. I don't know.
so if you know anywhere that's has a interesting association with a famous person, I'd love to hear about it.
We've had one. We have a Weatherspoons in Whitstable, Kent, named after Peter Cushing, as he lived here. It's from Kate.
That's right. He did live there. In fact, I nearly bought his house.
You didn't.
I went and had a look at it because I quite fancied, because I know he's not canon, but he did play the movie Doctor Who, which is an official Doctor Who canon, because in it he was actually called a man. He was called Who. He was called Doctor. He was a human.
Right.
Did you find out it was for sale via one of your Who alerts?
No, I found out because
Ramp the price up, wouldn't it, if they advertised that on the Who alert?
Yeah.
yeah, but because he's not canon, I don't know.
They don't strike me as big home buyers, the old Who fans, if you don't mind me saying.
No.
Long-term
Anyway.
rental.
No, they're just
Yeah.
more living with the parents, maybe. That's all.
It's that sort of prejudice.
That's so accurate.
It's funny.
Anyway, what had happened is he used to have a big house on the seafront, Peter Cushing.
Yeah.
And after he died, it had been split into two houses.
Oh, must have been a big one then.
Yeah. And the thing is that the house I went to look at was one of these, one half of the original, but the other half had got the plaque.
Oh, no.
I know. I mean, would people ever believe me when I say, well, actually, he lived in this house? And they go, yeah, sure. That's why next door's got the plaque. I couldn't live with that. I couldn't live with the idea of that.
Half the plaque and just move it along so that it's on either side of
I looked at Peter Sellers' old house.
the cellar.
No, it was a little cottage.
I was only going to buy a cushion. Do you remember that? Why doesn't Whoopi Goldberg marry Peter Cushing?
Oh, we're doing jokes now on Absolute Radio.
Doing that actual
jokes.
Been a long time
My
coming
worst
on
thing
it.
ever.
You nearly bought Peter Sellers' house.
Not only, I went to look at it. It was humble, but it was lovely. It was a little cottage that he was born in.
I would have liked that then.
Yeah, that's
Had a blue plaque on it, Frank.
Did it?
Nice.
I would like a house with a blue
So
plaque.
would I. That's why I nearly bought it, but the parking was atrocious.
I got a friend.
Plaque v parking.
I got a friend who was found up, and they said, "Do you know Benjamin Britten wrote?"
No, but thanks for the tip.
And they said, "We'd like to put a plaque on the house," and they said it'll put like 50. Was it 100 grand on the price of the house?
It's worth getting one.
Yeah, must be somebody.
I
Perhaps
went
it was just-
straight
I
for it.
lived. I lived in our house.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
546. Oh dear. As a 35-year-old Who fan, I think that means doctor
Yes.
rather than Daltrey, I was beside myself with anger at Emily's comments. And I actually went to ring Absolute to complain.
Oh, blimey.
But as I have to check with the bill payer first, and my mum is out at the moment, I was thwarted.
No, that is...
I love 546, can I marry you?
I like the fact
I don't care
that
what you
he's,
are, I don't care if you're Doberman Pinscher, I'm going to marry you.
He's taken your mean joke and he's ran with it, hasn't he?
Yeah, he's lovely.
Yes.
Good work.
Yes, I don't... I mean, there's no minorities left now you can say nasty things about, so people have turned on the Who fans. It's a scandal.
What about 641? We were talking about eating at strange times, weren't we? Or eating whatever we like.
Well, I'm on about this strange rule that you can't eat certain things at certain times of the day. It doesn't make any sense.
641. Hi, Frank, the DME and Cockerel. I was recently at a hotel in Arizona and the breakfast menu had a daily theme. One morning I had a 4-course Chinese meal. Soup, pancakes with aromatic duck, chicken chop suey and ice cream. Get in.
Ice cream as well. But why not?
Best time of day to eat ice cream, apparently.
Is that right?
Well, then you've got the rest of the day to burn it off, haven't you?
When you said apparently, do you mean it's your own theory?
It's something that I read that apparently, like years ago, if Sylvester Stallone was going to eat ice cream, which he does occasionally.
Was there an article called Ice Cream, when, question mark?
That's the sort of stuff I would read.
So I like the article which Sylvester Stallone was going to eat ice cream.
Apparently if he eats ice cream, he has it on a morning, and then he's got the whole day to...
Oh, do you know what? I'm going to do that from now on.
You walk it off.
I love that little tip.
That's why his tongue's numb most of the day. Poor Sylvester Stallone. Well, actually not poor.
Ian Angle. Oh. Peter Cushion. I thought that was just pillow talk. Oh, the punners are back.
Ian. Yes.
And
go on.
I was just going to say the pasty gate is raging on.
Oh, no.
I feel like I've won.
Do you?
Well, go on, carry on.
I think the others do. Someone has suggested, has Emily lost it? Someone said.
I feel extreme.
Everyone knows pasties are crimped. It's like Simon and Hyde.
I don't think you were saying that they aren't crimped. You were saying that they are latticed.
Yeah, I'm saying they're
some
latticed.
are latticed, but I think that makes them not pasties. That makes
No,
them...
I don't think. I think we've established that.
Somebody said that Cornish pasties are crimped to the side, not on the top. That's how they're meant to be.
Well, maybe we'll come back to this. A runner has just gone past on the towpath, and rain dribbles down onto the canal.
Is this one of your haiku?
I'm just
They're
loving
meant
it.
to have a bit of the weather, aren't they?
I'm loving it.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. We're in Manchester. Oh, Manchester. So much to answer for. You can text us on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the Absolute website direct.
104 has texted us. There's been a lot of controversy raging on this morning about whether pasties are... is there any latticing in the central reservation area? Apparently there isn't. Why is everyone shocked that Emily should think pasties are lattice, not crimped? She is the grand denier of pastry and all things carb-based. This is not her area of expertise.
No, it is true. That's
Fair
true.
enough. I can't deny that, 104.
Yes. Well,
Turning left when boarding an aeroplane is your area of expertise, isn't it?
so
I couldn't
that's,
possibly comment. You may say that.
Not in a four-seater.
I know.
Yes, so let's put the latticed lid on that. 'Cause
Okay.
It would be all day pasty talking. Let's just say I won.
It is done.
Okay.
Okay. What else?
I'll tell you what else. I missed April Fools this year
Oh,
because I was on some
you sleep
travels. No, I'm delighted because it's my worst day ever.
Yeah. I'm
I
a
hate
big
April
fan.
Fools, Frank.
Well, I'm a big fan of it.
Oh,
Are you? You're
yes.
a big fan.
Who can forget your classic April Fools when you told your girlfriend and mother-in-law that the toilet was broken? That was your April Fool, wasn't it?
Yeah, and the one when I told my girlfriend that I was going to do a show with Gok Wan,
Oh, this was good. This one was
in which
really
I
good.
wore avant-garde
Called Would You Wear That?
outfits. Yeah.
Did you keep a straight face for that?
Totally, to the point where
Really?
this was
That's
when some of you may recall this story. The last date, maybe the April Fool's before, but yes. And she said she decided that we had to split on the strength of this, quite seriously.
I love her
And
for
said
that.
you're not the person I thought you were,
She's right.
because I was going to do a show with Gok Wan in which I walked around northern towns wearing avant-garde outfits.
Right.
Didn't you do one as well, saying the car had been stolen or something?
Oh, I've done lots.
Yeah.
I didn't do one this year because
really?
she's actually had a big. She had a big hospital appointment on April Fool's Day, which happily has all turned out to be totally fine. But I didn't think it was the morning.
No.
Because she phoned up and says, "Fantastic news, all clear." I did think about. Well, it's funny you should say that because I've just had a call from them.
Really?
And they said, on the contrary, and I thought, no.
It's funny you should say that, because I had a go at an April Fool this year, and it's not my
you?
day. It's not my day, I don't like it. But then somebody told me, I've just sent a text to my mate to prank him for April Fool. And I've got a theory that you forget about it, and then someone tells you one that they've done, and then you think, I've got until noon, and so you have a go at it. So I'd been to see my osteopath, and I went back to my wife, and he basically said, this is fixing... Don't come back to me unless it's still a problem in 6 weeks, but you should be okay. So I'm on my way back, and I'm thinking, I'm going to try and prank her. I went in and I said, I thought it was going to be better. It turns out he's missed something, and I've got to get an MRI scan, and then they might have to shave a bit off my hip, and basically I'm going to be in traction for a whole month. And I'm thinking she's going to think, oh my God, I've got to look after 2 kids and the dog all on my own for a whole month. She just went, how did they miss that? Like, me in traction apparently is no more work for her than me not in traction.
Doesn't affect her life at all.
No.
I also like that you did an April Fool centred around an MRI scan.
Yeah,
Terrible.
And a shaved hip.
And really badly as well. I knew that I couldn't keep a straight face, so while I was telling her it, I turned and put the kettle on, and I told her it with my back to her, like, really lame.
I fell
Rubbish.
for one. I fell for one this year.
Oh, did
What
you?
was it?
There was an internet one. This is... I know we're breaking all the rules here, but
Did
it's...
they tell you you'd be nominated for 10 Sony Awards?
No. No, it wasn't that. It was...
Radio Academy, sorry.
It was... it said that Peter Capaldi... It turns out isn't really the Doctor. That was a bit of a switch.
Oh, wow.
And it said that he was the master, who is the Doctor's sort of
I'm
arch
sorry,
enemy.
I don't watch it.
Yes, well, think arch enemy. And
Arch enemy.
he was just pretending to be the Doctor, but in fact he's going to be. And I thought, wow, that's
a good
what
twist.
a fantastic plot twist.
Yeah.
But you don't want to do what you don't want to do is April Fool's when you find the truth, it's less good. The April Fool.
Oh, were you thinking, hang on, this is a casting opportunity again all
No,
of
well,
a sudden?
I mean, I think, I'm happy about Capaldi as the Doctor, but the idea that they could have switched that and kept us all fooled would have been such a
They're now
brilliant...
thinking they should have done that.
Great,
But you're supposed... But when it comes... You're supposed to be, like, relieved to find out it's in April. Like, my mate, a very good friend of mine, he got the role of Debris in The Producers in the West End, the sort of...
Oh,
the,
yes,
the
I know
gay
the
producer.
friend, yeah.
He was very, very excited, as you can imagine. It's a brilliant part. And he got up on April Fool's Day, and I said, you're definitely doing the Debris role, aren't you, in that? And he said, yeah. I said, there's just been a thing on the news that says that Graham Norton's doing it. And he said, that'll be a mistake. And he told me after he said, that's ridiculous. He said, I was dying inside. Absolutely.
Do that?
Because I then gave him the gift of the truth. It's like when people say to me, what's the time? If someone asks me the time, and I always add an hour and a half on it. And then they go, it's not that is. And I go, no. And then I've given them an extra hour and a half on their life.
It's not jokes, it's admin creation. That's all you do.
Oh, well, I'm going to use that as my, on a poster. Not jokes, admin creation.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
844, very curious from Bracknell, wants to know, how do you become a number? I've been intrigued for a long time. Is it like an exclusive gentleman's club? For some reason, I think it's only men who have a number, not a girl thing. Can I just make one up, or do you allocate them? Perhaps you'd care to explain, Frank.
That thing, I think it's only men who have a number. That's how we've been trained up now, to be paranoid that we're being oppressed. But in fact, it's something that Gareth, our previous incumbent in the Cockerell seat, invented. When people didn't put a name on text, he just used the last 3 digits of their mobile number.
Yeah.
And then people got to like that better than the names. So we took that sort of... It's a bit like a delicatessen counter method. So no, all comers are welcome to that. In fact, that person, what is their name?
That person's name, hold the line, please.
Very Curious from Bracknell.
Yeah, thank you,
That's
Alan.
what I've called
Very curious. And what would be their number?
Their number would be 844.
There you go. Very curious. You've got your number. Congratulations.
Your number's up.
Very Curious sounds like some sort of strange 60s film. I Am Curious Orange. Anyway. I'll tell you what I did. Now, this is one of the reasons I might move away from the practical joke.
Go on.
I've been doing another radio show.
What?
For Radio 4, a history panel show, which I think I've spoken to you about before. And it's not out for a while, so I'm not plugging. But Daisy was... What was your role on it, Daisy?
Broadcast assistant.
Broadcast assistant. She was very much the engine room of it. And I phoned her up about something else, and she said, yeah. And I said, you know what, I don't feel very well. I'm not going to do it tonight. This was like 2 hours before the show. And I don't know why I said it, because I was phoning about something else.
No, you often don't know why you say things.
I just can't
Something else you told just now, which I can't believe. Anyway.
And Daisy says, oh, God, it's really short notice. I said, no, I'm sorry. And then I said, no, actually, I was joking. I am doing it. And she said, I'm sorry, I just feel like crying. She honestly said that. I thought, I really felt that it had gone wrong. I really felt that I could hear, the slight tremble in the voice.
That's the problem with pranking.
It is.
Yeah.
It is the problem with
It's
pranking.
like when I gave that friend of my mother's a rubber cookie on a plate. And there was a plate full of normal cookies.
Yeah.
So even as if I was doing it with 5 other people. I did it on my own, and then I put 1 rubber cookie on there.
Hang on, how old were you at this point?
Probably about 11.
All right.
And he bit into it. He was Canadian. And he went, oh, my tooth! And
That's a brilliant prank.
I cried.
You know what? You've taught me round. I am going to do that. I'd forgotten how brilliant they were. I like the detail of it, which seemed to help the laugh, was he was Canadian.
Yeah.
I've got a 6-year-old, and I think next year, if I could get hold of a rubber cookie for him, he'd be really excited approaching April
I think
Fools.
health and safety are probably not allowed after my toothgate.
Well, also, you can't be serving up cookies before noon, can you? That's when the April Fools cut-off point is.
Exactly.
Anyway.
Why is that? Do we know?
I'm sorry, I'm Googling rubber cookies. see if I can get some 24 hours.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
I'll tell you what I don't like, when the newspapers do April Fools.
Oh, I hate that.
And they put quotes in, and you think, well, how can I ever trust you again? You're the newspaper. If you can make up quotes from Nick Clegg about them, making square eggs or something. That was an old one.
That was very
quite
daybreak,
good, wasn't
that.
it? That was ages ago. But
What about the Birmingham Mail? Oh, I love it. About the Birmingham's joined in. They printed a picture of a shark in the canal in Birmingham, but they don't have the Photoshop properly done.
Oh, no.
So it looked terrible, Frank.
Oh, dear.
wasn't there another one that they were changing Wolverhampton train station to Wolverine?
Oh, yeah.
I think that's
quite good.
idea.
Yeah.
If you had a flat near there, you could say, oh, yeah, I live near Wolverine. That'd be brilliant.
Oh, I agree. Well, I really like the Slovakia.
Oh,
What was that one?
It said that they were going to do all through the night broadcasts of their various presenters counting sheep on air.
Oh, that's good.
I'd watch that.
I'd watch that.
Like in the early days of when Big Brother was on, and people you couldn't hear what they were saying because it was contentious. And so they
Bird
just-
song.
the
You
bird
used to
song.
get bird songs if they said anything.
No, I couldn't bear that. It
Soothing,
reminded
but it
me
was
too
on
much of the 1997 sort of time in my life. Bird song.
What, the journey home from a night out?
Yeah. I heard a lot of bird song back then.
Well, when me and David Baddiel lived together, he got early cable,
Oh, yeah.
and there used to be one channel that at night went to Roaring Log Fire,
Nice.
Right.
and we used to put that on.
Yeah.
And there was one walking penguins, and it was just on a loop of penguins just pottering about. And I'm not kidding you, we used to laugh our heads off at that, night after night after night. People, you don't want to necessarily have programmes, and just have stuff
Yeah.
on.
Yeah, sometimes I just like that. It's like background noise, isn't it?
Very soothing.
There's people I'd love to hear counting sheep.
Mm-hmm. Ian McMillan, the Barnsley parody.
Oh, Ian McMillan.
He'd be good at that, wouldn't he?
One sheep. 2 sheep. I see 3 sheep. That's how it would be. It'd be brilliant.
Perfect.
Jerry Halliwell, I imagine, would be good at it.
You imagine
her
Jerry Halliwell
voice.
in a lot of different
How
circumstances.
dare you say that to me?
I find her voice a bit, yeah.
Yeah, but that's what Stephen
It
Hawking.
grates on me.
Stephen Hawking for a sort of special.
What sort of special?
You know, I don't know, technological special. 1 sheep. 2 sheep.
It's like choosing a ringtone on your phone, wouldn't it be? Which voice would you select for the sheep counting?
If somebody...
All celebrities should have to do it.
If-
It should be a rule.
If I got offered celebrity sheep count
Oh, yeah.
live through the night, I'd do it.
I'd like Adrian Charles, sheep count. 1 sheep.
No, I think that would... yeah, there's loads of people. Kate Winslet, I imagine, would put real...
I'm not sure if
passion
she'd do
into
it, Frank. That's my only issue with
I
that.
don't think she's available
Yeah.
for celebrity
I'm not
sheep.
sure.
If we made
Too
it...
busy being in films, do you think?
No, but, you know, I think she's very down to earth.
I think if I could choose, I think Graham Norton would be in my top 3.
Oh, okay.
Oh, I'd love him as my sheep counter.
What about Alan Carr?
Lidl.
Oh, that's steady.
Frank Skinner.
On Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
641 has texted us, Frank. He calls himself Prisoner 641. Hi, Frank, Emily and Alan. My parents had a rubber cookie. Whenever any workman came to the house...
Like they had the family rubber cookie. Get the rubber cookie out, Martin.
Whenever any workman came to the house, they were always given a cup of tea and a plate of biscuits, one of which was the rubber one.
Excellent.
I would often put an exploding cigarette in their cig packets.
That...
When I was having building work on my own house, I left a plastic doggy poo for the builders to find.
see, this is a
47
regime.
years old, this man.
It's a
47.
regime.
Yeah.
That's what it is. I think that's brilliant. Maybe I'm going to make my family into the prankster family.
Yeah, the Frankster.
I mean, change it by... Oh, yeah. I was going to change it by Deeple. Prank Skinner, I could call myself. They've never filled the Beadle gap.
That's true, they haven't.
That could be me.
If you changed your name by deed poll to Frank Skinner, I would walk.
Oh, come on. You got through the pasties thing. You can get through this.
She wouldn't walk far.
No, not in those hills. I would walk to that cab paid for by my friend.
Stop laughing at me.
You're listening to Frank Skinner's podcast from Absolute Radio.
Now, did you enjoy your Texas Chewy Pecan Pralines?
It was nice because I thought
loved
it was
it.
going to be. I thought it was going to be, brittle.
Like my good self.
Yeah.
I should
whereas-
explain, I've been on my travels and I brought you sweets back, didn't I?
I love it when people bring sweets back from holiday. Such a
Very
tradition.
much like
Yeah.
an office job.
And it wasn't
Yeah.
just a big Toblerone from the airport. It's actually from the country you went to.
It was. I
Did
went
you get
to...
it in the airport, though? Be
Yes, I
honest.
did.
Oh,
Yeah.
good.
I went to Austin, I should tell our readers. Austin, Texas.
That's in Texas.
For a jaunt with some of my aviation pals. I have to say, it's a fabulous city.
Ostentatious in Austin, Texas. That's what I'd say.
I was. I saw bat colonies. I saw Willie Nelson's
what?
parking space.
Hang on, bats?
I saw Sandra Bullock's cake shop.
Just a minute. What are bat colonies?
Well,
Bat?
yeah, bats.
Oh, I thought it said back.
No.
I was thinking, is that
Actual
like a treatment
bats.
or something?
There's loads of bats. What you do is you go and stand on the bridge at 7 o'clock when they all come out, and there's swarms of them. Oh, I love
7
them.
at night.
It's like, I said, this is like One Direction. The bats are like celebrities
All right, and everyone's
in
Yeah.
following
Austin.
them.
Now, what I noticed
The world's upside down, isn't it? That's what the bat said.
What I noticed about Texas, Frank, they're very dramatic people. And this is what I like. They're very sort of Tennessee Williams played. Do you know what I mean?
Are they?
Yeah, oh yeah. You don't just, if you go in and you order
Well, I
drink-
can't cope with this infernal heat. It's a bit like that.
It's exactly
They
what
must
it's
be off
like.
the scale in dramatic people terms if you're calling them dramatic.
Well, for example, you go into a bar, I said to the barman, oh, I'd like a drink. And he went, I'll get you one, but you have to promise to trust me. I'm not joking, that's what he said.
Wow.
Yeah. And how long's he doing?
He said,
He's obviously been in prison since you met him, hasn't he?
He said, "What do you want?" I said, "Well, I don't know. I like vodka." He said, "I told you gotta trust me." I said, "I trust you."
Yeah, wow, that's quite a big thing to say to a strange man.
That's something I've never said before.
I've said it to a few barmaids.
I said it in one incident, which I'll tell you about later.
There was a barmaid at the pub in Birmingham who used to give me drinks from the slop trays.
Oh, lovely.
You know the slop trays under the... I'd have like 8 or 9 pints a night
She
without
said, "What
paying.
do you want?"
Yeah. So it's like part lager, part bitter.
Can I just remind everyone that at the start of this broadcast, I was being called thrifty. And now he's admitting to having
I
drank
wasn't so
9
much
pints of
thrifty as thirsty.
Tell me you didn't trust her, Frank.
I trusted her that it was wouldn't kill me what I was drinking. There's probably a little bit of cleaning fluid in there as well. It's basically any fluid from behind the bar I was prepared to drink. Anyway, I've dragged it down to something very domestic.
So I said, "I trust you." He said, "Okay, y'all trust me." He turned round. He was gone a bit, like the nutty professor. He was doing all this gubbins, a bit like when Marquis Smith's kind of tuning up. He gave me this drink. It was without doubt the most disgusting thing I've ever had in my life.
Wow.
It was an aniseed cocktail. I drank it, and I had to pretend to like it because it was hot.
Oh, no.
He was hot.
Oh, he was hot.
He was really hot. I drank 3 of them. I did.
You didn't drink 3.
I drank 3 of them.
He really was hot. I was on a road trip through Texas and Arizona once, and we went.
So when you went with Adrian Childs?
Yeah, I wasn't going to name names. I don't like to name drop.
I do.
Yeah, we were also with Bryn Law, the Sky Sports reporter.
Okay.
If you want me to really drop names. Anyway, we stopped at this restaurant, and Bryn said those two are big celebrities in the United Kingdom, and this waitress came over and said, "You guys celebrities?" And we said, "Well, you know." She said, "Wow, I recently had a one-night stand with Val Kilmer." Oh, small world. Can I say that was only her own allegation? I have no evidence if Val's listening.
Yeah.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
So I'm in Austin, Texas.
Oh, yes.
That was bar 1.
All bar 1?
A couple of nights later, we went to another bar.
Was there no end
Was there no congress?
Was there no end to the hot barman story?
Well, no, I drank it and I felt a bit peculiar, so I had to go home.
Oh, did you come over all unnecessary?
You stopped trusting him after a while.
I wonder how many... He's just getting rid of stuff, isn't he? You know, they get rid of stuff.
Although, it was rather odd because he was opposite my hotel.
For the rest of your stay?
What, just standing on the street?
The bar was opposite my hotel. And he was outside. Yeah, it was very on the street where you live. It's very friendly. And I saw him having one of his cigarillos while I went across to my hotel. And he saw me and I said, and then when I got into the hotel, I turned the lights on and I saw him still there. Mm-hmm. I didn't like it. He saw me turning the lights on. So I kept the curtains open, just in case. So then a couple of nights later, found myself in another bar.
Blimey.
I know. And I don't drink that much these days, so it's hard on me. But there was another barman.
Right.
And I'm afraid he was very handsome as well.
Brilliant.
He was slightly Hispanic. You know that film The Outsiders? He was that type.
There's a sort of staffing policy thing coming through. They get good-looking people to work. It's often the way.
But there's a complication here, because I'm with one of my gay friends, and he fancies him, and so do I.
Oh, okay.
And my gay friend insists he's one of his, and I insist he's one of mine. It got quite nasty. So we
scratch
both...
his eyes out.
Well, everyone else...
I have to say, it's the same with the Catholics. We're always trying to claim. My dad once tried to convince me that Muhammad Ali was a Catholic. Seriously. I was saying, Dad, he would not be called that. No, he's called that, but he's Catholic. Anyway.
So we're sitting at the bar. Everyone else is having a nice time, enjoying the evening. We are stuck there in a battle to the death, trying to flirt with this barman. We're both thrusting our chests out. It was awful. He starts lining up shots again. I don't drink shots, but I did to show off because I liked him. He said, "You like whiskey shots?" I mean, I love them. I love them.
Oh, dear.
It was awful, Frank. The pressure. My gay friend starts saying, "I mean, you're working in a bar. I mean, you have a college education, right?"
Oh, so he was playing it wrong.
Yeah. Well, when it got to the whole night we spent there, and then it was time to go, and then he said, well, it's my night off tomorrow night, so maybe we can all hang out. Let the games commence.
Yeah.
I said, yeah, sounds great. My gay friend says, yeah, I'll take your number. He takes the number. I was fuming. The next day, we're waiting for the barman to call. No call from him. I thought, well, I look quite good. That's a bit of a shocker. He said, I texted him. I don't know why he hasn't been in touch. I said, what did you say? I looked at the little green text that he'd sent. It said, hey, great to meet you. Emily and I really can't wait to swing with you tomorrow.
Oh!
He'd mistyped.
Well, to be honest, normally I'd have said no to that, but if I was on my holidays... But, of course, because he was at home, I suppose he gets those. Oh, that's worth a try, then.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
This is Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio with Emily Dean and Alan Cochrane. You can text us on 81215, follow the show on Twitter at Frank on the Radio, or email the show directly through the Absolute Radio website.
Frank Kober has tweeted us.
Kober?
How long are you on for tonight at Preston? I need to book a meal.
Well, it's somewhere between 90 and 100 minutes.
Okay.
Plus support.
Great.
Plus support, so I'll go on about 8:15. We should have him out of there by 10.
Okay. All right, there you go, Kober. Nando's.
Do you think it is a meal, or do you think he's a match of the day fan? He's just thinking of his journey back, journey
he
time.
Doesn't have to, he knows he doesn't have to lie to me about that.
No, exactly.
George Michael and Hampstead Heath?
What, he's texted? Are we getting Grindr now on the show? What does George have to say?
It's just that we were talking earlier about places you associate with people.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You know, I have one of those with Barcelona. You know, is it Le Ramblas?
The Ramblas,
the main bits, which most people would think of Barcelona and they'd think of Gaudi or whatever. Me and my wife were in a little cafe, quite a modest place, just having a bit of...
Yes, I'd imagine so.
And I think I might have told you this before, but I could hear from behind me this... And eventually I turned around and it was Shane McGowan.
Oh...
laughing, and
it's some laugh, isn't it?
Oh yeah, and we walked past again 8 hours later, and he was still in there with his mates.
He's still laughing.
Still laughing, yeah. Cheery.
It's just had a bit more edge to it.
Whenever I think of Barcelona, I think of seeing Shane McGowan in a cafe. I mean, most people don't, do they, when they think of Barca? You think of the long playing career that you had for them.
Of course,
yeah.
Well, I'm still managing. I am still... I did a press conference.
In Catalan?
Yesterday, actually.
In fluent Catalan, was it?
Fluent Catalan, but in my daydreams it's translated into English for my benefit, because I don't speak Catalan in the real world. It's very complicated. Extremely complicated. I'll tell you where we haven't been for a while. Email Corner. Do we have emails?
We do. Dear Frank, Emily and Alan, my 5-year-old daughter Megan is a bit cross with Frank. Can I just say that the use of the word cross immediately makes me think that this woman is either very English or a bit middle class.
Really?
Yeah, yes. I think it's because I grew up with Scottish accents that I would never say cross. I've never said, I was really cross, because it sounds to me like Enid Blyton. Scottish people, I think, get angry. I was angry. They don't go, I was cross. Just don't. Why would a Scottish person say that? It's bizarre.
Surely they say cross. When they're instructing you how to lay the swords for the sword dads.
Or they might use the word
to,
cross, but
Harry
not in this
Cross.
context.
No, I wouldn't normally use the word cross.
I use it all the time.
Yeah, see?
You were right, Alan.
My 5-year-old daughter Megan is a bit cross with Frank. Whilst re-listening to an old podcast, you told someone to shut up, at which Megan registered her disgust, as we're not allowed to say shut up in our house. She said Frank was being rude. She also added how lucky Frank is to be able to work with his husband, Alan. Oh, that's me.
Well, you say that, but I mean, it brings extra pressure working with your husband.
Yeah.
Megan. I mean,
like Richard and Judy in that regard.
Look at poor Judy. You know, ultimately, we just get each other, and that's... That's why it works.
I heard you just can't quit him.
Yeah. No, you know, I mean, I'm not saying, Megan, there haven't been rough patches. There have.
No.
And I have told him to shut up.
And it does help that I give ground in big arguments. It's really useful. That.
You do. But, you know what? I wouldn't swap him. But, I'm sorry, Megan, if I offended you with that, if you're listening. But it's just that, I find that eventually with people, you have to tell them to shut up.
Yeah.
If they feel like they're winding down gradually of their own accord, it's fine. But with some people, they always feel like they're at full pelt.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Belt up, I'm all right with.
I think...
Shut your cake hole. I haven't used that for a few years.
Cake hole's a good one.
Cake hole.
Put a sock in it.
Benny Hill.
Yeah, put a sock in it. I haven't heard for ages.
I think you might have been... I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I think you might have been doing that thing that you do of feigning outrageous surprise of going, shut up.
Yeah. The only way is Essex thing. I think I was.
I think you were. I think it was
I see that as
ironic.
being shut up in inverted
So I was
commas.
going, shut up, as in I don't believe you.
Yeah.
So you see, Megan, I'm not as rude as you think, but you're quite right. It's not nice to tell people to shut up if you're listening.
Maybe you should switch it to, I don't believe you.
That's a really topical catchphrase.
Been taken.
Why didn't you start saying
that
nah
gone?
as well?
Oh, I still do that. Well, as you know, I frequently answer the phone to Daisy, the producer of this show, with "What's up?" which turns her stomach a
God bless
bit.
you. You should. I'm going to start doing that lip smacking, thirst quenching.
This is
Frank Skinner, Absolute Radio.
Got a text saying Simon Le Bon, Pinner. I'm assuming that's a famous person that they've seen in Pinner.
Oh, I thought that was a famous thing that he used to wear.
I thought that was a request he made.
But it was supposed to be places, that were specific spots that you associate
All right.
with people.
Okay, don't get angry.
Pinner's too big.
Yeah, true that.
So thanks for joining in. But wrong.
Nick has emailed us.
Mm-hmm.
He says, Frank, Alan and Emily, on a course this week in the small town of Bromsgrove,
Oh, I know it.
our small group wandered down the high street in search of an evening meal. In an unfamiliar town within our generous £20 budget, I approached
Do you think that's per person? Sounds all right.
I don't know.
If you issue a starter.
It's all gone a bit tip for my hairdresser. I approached an impressive-looking statue, always worth a look to see who's been immortalised,
Yeah.
to read the inscription. Imagine my delight when I read the text. It was none other than A.E. Houseman.
Well done for going a bit J.R. Hartley there.
Wowee. He hasn't had a mention for a long time.
Nick then instructs...
He winds down slowly,
Yeah. Nick instructs to sound the warning. I immediately thought of my 3 podcast friends, Frank, Alan and Emily, and I had to let you know of my excellent experience. It made my week. If Emily would care to join me to view the statue, it would be a pleasure to take her. That is all. Nick from Northwich, 034.
So Nick from Northwich has called us his 3 podcast friends, and Northwich isn't that far from Manchester. So
What are you
Let's
suggesting?
just go there.
we could
Yeah.
be
Go and have
pals with him.
lunch with him.
We could be pals with Nick.
Fine with that.
I'll be up for that.
Bromsgrove, it was in Bromsgrove the first time I ever kissed a girl with glasses on.
Oh, did you like it?
It's all right. I like I like the artificial element of it. Yeah, and
You should have gone to Specsavers.
yeah, and it was all right. She was quite nice, and we kissed some more.
I don't want to know that bit of the story.
And then
Are
the
these
next-
still song lyrics you're doing? No. Kiss some more. Sounds like you're quoting.
I don't like that second verse.
And then the following week we went back to Bromsgrove.
Stop telling
It's
us
like
what
hanging out with
happened.
Craig David.
And then she got off with my mate.
Sounds like they didn't chill much, Al.
Sorry for laughing. But
No, it was awful. It was all.
story of trauma, and we're all cackling.
I'd laid all the ground bait, and then he came in and
You see, those glasses ones, they'll lull you into a false sense of security.
well, me and this same mate was playing pool with a few friends a couple of days later. I hadn't mentioned it at all, and he got a very, very lucky bounce off 3 cushions. And the ball went in, and I was so furious that the whole thing just came flooding out.
Yeah.
And I thought I'm just going to tell him now, but I didn't tell. I told him in song. I complained in song. I sang.
What did you say? You're so weird.
I sang.
Who does that?
I
It's
suddenly,
really weird.
so he went in and I went, oh, and I just went, somebody stole my gal, somebody stole my gal, somebody came and took her away. And that was how
Did
I...
you really do that?
Honestly, I swear to you,
Did you
that's
grow
true.
up in West Side Story?
Yeah, I was a jet.
He sounds like he grew up in Seven Brides for Seven Brothers. Oh, Frank.
Yes.
I can't believe that story.
Well, they were different times.
Skinner, Dean, and Cochrane. Together, The Frank Skinner Show.
Absolute Radio.
Now then,
Yeah. Oh, don't say that.
my favourite news story
fair.
of the week,
Yeah.
definitely. 16-year-old girl in Dover stuck down drain.
Yeah.
Oh, Anne Birchenough.
Yes.
That's her name, isn't it? Birchenough. It's not a common name.
Ella, isn't it?
Oh, is it Ella? I'm sorry.
Ella Birchenough. Yeah,
I'd like to
it's
see
great.
her family tree.
I believe she's called Ella Ann, but I'll let you have that.
No, it's one of those that if
Family tree.
I wonder what her porn name
He
is.
made a joke.
You know the mom's maiden name, first pet. I bet it won't be as good a porn name as Ella Birchenough. What a thing when your real name's better than your porn name as a porn name. How often does that happen? Anyway, Ella, who's a 16-year-old schoolgirl, dropped her phone.
Perhaps why I'm uncomfortable about those jokes.
Okay, well, I'm speaking in the abstract.
Can I just say, I
Not
called her
very.
Anne. Her name is Ella Ann, so I wasn't wrong.
But
it wasn't like Lattice Gate.
But anyway, she's 16. If you're going to make a law...
Anyway, she got stuck down a drain, Frank, in
Yes.
Kent.
Yes, in Dover, I think.
Yeah.
And I didn't quite understand her... Well, she dropped her phone, was how it
I think I
happened.
do understand it.
Oh, do you? Go on then.
And I think I identify with it a lot.
Go on.
She dropped the phone
What, with
down
Ella
the drain.
Birchenough?
Yes, I think I identify with Ella Ann Birchenough.
Okay, well, spare the
think-
rod and spoil the child.
I think she dropped the phone down the drain, and here's her thinking. She thought, if I lift this drain out and stick myself in there, I can pick up the phone with my toes, which I kind of get. You know when somebody picks...
With her toes?
With her feet. You know when you sort of grab something with your feet and lift it up?
Are you saying to me that Ella Birchenough has got sort of dexterous ape feet?
Yeah.
Do you know what it's a bit like?
Maybe she'd watch My Left Foot that week on DVD.
Maybe.
Yeah. She got
Very
inspired.
similar to the other day, I got in the bath and I had left my paperback novel too far away from the bath, but then I had a look and thought, hang on, it's on the rug that I can reach, and so
Very
I
good.
flicked the rug and the paperback flew towards... I was so happy.
If ever you're locked in a cell in the Wild West, you'll be able to get out
I'll
with that
come and
kind of
visit
thing.
you.
Yeah. I was
Yeah.
so happy I nearly kicked the bath shelf off.
Oh, that be. What's on the bath shelf? Doc? Soap?
Yeah. And
There'll be a few of those soaps all worn down.
The, paperback.
Small hotel soap.
Hotel soap's very worn down.
I've got a room full of those.
That are dangling because they're a bit
Yeah.
too small
Yeah.
for the gaps on the...
Oh, do you know they've been welded together as well for reuse?
Well, as you know, I got much mocked for bringing the shower gel home that I found at the swimming bath.
Well, that I found.
Found. Theft by finding, you said.
Yeah.
But anyway, I've spoken on this show before about my joy in local newspaper photographs when they feel they have to get every element of the story
Yeah.
in
You mean the...
in one picture. So they'll have Manly. One that sticks in my mind. Like, if one girl got to university, I remember where I lived, which was quite a thing, and she was going to study geography, and they had a picture of her in a mortarboard and cape, holding a pile of books and pointing at a map of the world, just to say, and they had a picture of Ella Birchenough, and this is after the fact.
They've
Yeah.
got
So she's-
actual pictures of her stuck in the drain, haven't
They've
they?
got- her in the drain,
Yes,
but-
her mother took them. That's a whole other story.
But
Yeah.
they took Ella back to the drain in her school uniform now. So you've got the schoolgirl,
you've got to have the blazer, yeah.
schoolgirl element. So we know she's a schoolgirl.
Yeah.
And they got her to climb into the drain, and she's just sitting on the edge of the drain.
Holding the phone.
Yeah, oh man, it's so beautiful. It's all there.
They've done a recon.
They
What
have.
about this mother?
Let's come back to the mother because I need to play some music. But it's a fabulous story. I think
It
you'll
is.
agree.
It's got all the elements we need.
I'd put it right up there with Sir Gawain and the Green Knight.
Frank
Skinner.
on Absolute Radio.
Absolute Radio.
We've had a text that begins, "Let me expand," which I like. Let me expand. I saw Simon Le Bon visiting his family, who lived next door to my aunt in Pinner, and she never told me. Frank, you broke my heart when you said my text had missed the point. I'm in love with you, but can't think of the right song to tell you. Perhaps Unbreak My Heart. Caroline 678.
Or perhaps Pulp's Help the Aged. That's lovely. Well, now the whole thing makes sense. I'm sorry I said that. You know I love the readers. All of you. And relax. Ella Birchenough. How's she getting on in the drain?
What about that mum? She said she rounded the corner. This is the mum. When Ella Birchenough was stuck in the drain. She rounded the corner as white as a sheet and then started laughing and took a photo.
Yeah. And I like the fact that she says she'll never live this down. We're going to get these pictures out when she turns 18, as if it's really far away. It's like probably about 18 months' time.
I liked Ella's story of how she said, my feet, they were in some sort of liquid. She said, I think it was water. She said, but I wasn't taking any chances. So I went straight home and had a bath.
Oh, yeah.
So you wouldn't have had a bath otherwise, having been stuck down a drain.
See, what I like is that she said, I went straight home and jumped in the bath. Everybody says jumped in the bath.
Yeah, Kat says that. I pull her up on it all the time. I'm just going to jump in the shower.
Jump in the shower.
Yeah.
But
I say
you're
that.
so on.
All the time.
You're so on.
Also, the friend.
Just going to jump in the drain. Sorry, I'm late. I jumped in a drain. Sorry.
Frank, the friend who's getting slightly famous on the back of it. Have you seen the friend?
Oh, no.
The male friend. He was in the vicinity. He was driving past. Again, much like the mother, didn't stop to offer assistance. Just took a photo and laughed.
Yeah.
He went on Daybreak with her, though. I don't know what it's called. Is it called Daybreak now? I'm not sure.
Like that.
Drain break. They've renamed it.
Very specific programme.
Yeah.
It's
They don't get the 3 hours they used to out of it.
It's just people from Drain.
What I like,
stories.
that's a good booking, isn't it? I've got the Drain Girl. What I like, though, was that he described her as being in high spirits. Like she was recovering from an operation. They were asking for updates on her progress.
What's the mood in the cab? No, she looked like she was a bit of a laugh.
Yeah.
Oh, if someone says that about me, it worries me.
There was another picture of her in the local paper, and she was sort of gesturing, standing at the side of the drain and gesturing towards it the way, like, a magician's assistant points at a mystical cabinet. It was like that, you know. It was brilliant.
She's a celebrity now, though. He'll say, who's coming? Nikki Clark, White Power Ranger, Girl in a Drain.
She'll be in Panto in Dover.
Have her own chat show.
This year.
Yeah.
The other thing I liked about it was at the bottom of the story had loads of recaps on stories when people had been stuck in things, and I think we've covered all of them on this show.
Is that right?
Years, yeah.
I'm glad. I feel proud about that.
Woman that was stuck in a coat hanger.
Oh, there was a woman in ironing board, wasn't there? Student trapped in ironing board.
The Frank Skinner Show. Listen live every Saturday morning from 8 on Absolute Radio.
Got a text in that I think is new territory for the show. Caroline 678 text saying, do you know if Ian Angle is single? He sounds lovely. He's a regular correspondent with funny jokes often. I think we could have a pod night out. And she's put one of those smiley faces on there.
It'd be great if they got together. We'd have at the blind date wedding.
Oh, I'd love
lovely.
that.
But wasn't the woman who just texted in and told me she loved me? Wasn't she called Caroline? Is she fickle?
She might be.
This is one of the people that used to, try and sleep with Elvis and end up with one of the Memphis Mafia, assistants.
No, she's just got a lot of love to give. She's like me in that respect.
I don't want to offend the Pinner lady again. That'd be terrible.
If anyone's going to go out with Ian Angle, I should. I'm sorry, I was here first.
You are right, it is the same lady.
Yeah.
Oh, Caroline.
She gets about, doesn't she?
What happened to that? What happened to that woman? It's, Frank, really love you. Oh, Ian Angle.
I'll deal with Angle. Leave the punters to me.
For goodness.
I need to talk to you about my addiction.
About your diction?
My addiction.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I thought you said diction.
It's Candy Crush.
Ironically.
Have you heard of this game, Candy Crush?
I've heard of it. I don't know what it is.
I'm on level 70.
A few adults that keep playing it.
Keep playing it?
Yeah.
It's taken over my life. I do it it's the last thing I do before I go to bed. I do it when I wake up in the morning. I sneak a few games in. I do it on the loo as well.
Oh, dear.
Daisy.
You see, I couldn't do that because I had a friend who used to come round our house and he'd say, He'd say, I'm just going to use the closet. And he'd pick up one of the Sunday
Is he someone out of a Thomas Hardy novel?
No, it's a friend of mine. He used to pick up one of the Sunday papers and go to the toilet. I couldn't touch that paper after.
No.
No, so if I'd Candy Crushed in the toilet, I wouldn't want to press those buttons again.
Yeah, but I got caught by Daisy, the producer.
In the toilet?
No. I was doing it during our post-show brunch when you were all talking, and I was pretending to listen to the conversation and contribute, and she saw all these primary coloured fruits coming up on my screen.
It's very addictive like that, though, isn't it? I was compared at a stand-up gig by somebody that was playing Candy Crush just whilst people were on. He was... Like,
yeah, you do it all the time.
Sounds dangerous.
Well, the other thing is, though, when you see other people, I've been on the tube and then I've seen other people playing it and I've thought, loser, and then I've realised I'm playing it.
You're one of those.
Yeah, I judge them, but I don't. But yeah, no, it's addictive.
I daren't check it out. No. I don't want to get hooked on a game.
Don't want to go there.
No, and it costs money as well. I spent fortunes.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm out.
Trapped. I'm addicted.
I'm immediately out. I'm gone.
You have to pay for it.
Well, you have to pay if you want to buy. It says, would you like to purchase a sweet set of lives?
No.
Yeah. £1.69 a go.
OMG.
But that is funny with apps, isn't it? Do you find that with apps? That I'm going, 69p? No way. Any other area of life? Cup of coffee, £8, certainly. An app, 120. 120? Something that'll give me hours and hours of pleasure and interest. 120, forget about it.
No. Too
It's
dear.
not wasting time reading books.
But what
or
is
something.
it about apps that we're so strict on what they should cost? And they're cheap.
I'm not.
There's a new one, though. Have you heard of Papers, Please?
Yes.
As we call it, Papers, Please.
Is this the dystopian nightmare one where they're sort of...
Is it possible to say it without saying purpose, please?
Kill him.
It's a made-up security guard or something, isn't it?
You play a border inspector
Yeah.
at this continuous checkpoint. And it's sort of admin-based, the game.
See, I don't really like real-life
Frank's
admin.
April Fool's
It
jokes.
sounds a bit like work.
I quite like the idea of fake admin, though, strangely. I think I could get into that.
We'll come back to this, because
Okay.
I had a slightly embarrassing experience on the game front recently.
Oh, God.
Absolute Radio.
Frank Skinner on Absolute Radio.
I was in Southwold. I was in a cafe next to the pier.
Yeah.
And one of the guys I was with said to me, and it was not a joke, it's a serious thing. He said to me, they've got whack-a-mole. I said, I've just had lunch. And I honestly thought that he was saying guacamole in a bit of a wacky, comedy way. And he meant whack-a-mole. You know that game when you when moles pop you in with
when you
hammers?
whack a mole. You can see what they've done there.
Yeah, I made such a fool of him. And he just looked, that people look at you like that. Trying to work out if I was joking or not.
I like the idea of the Papers, Please, though.
Yeah.
Because it won an award or something, didn't it? I believe.
Well, as you know, I like all sort of Soviet bloc based.
Well, you check everyone's documents,
Yeah.
and you make a decision based on whether you trust them. You got to trust me.
Yeah, I can't quite understand how it works. I don't play any of those. It's like a game you'd play on a computer to be on a screen and all that.
Is it called
stuff.
a PC game? Is that what it is?
You see,
PC game.
Yeah. Well, it's not Prepare to Meet Your Maker, scumbag. It's not one of those games.
No, but I've never played any of those games. To me, it's like watching cartoons, but with added responsibility.
Yeah.
And I don't really want. I like to just sit back. I don't want to be operating control of things.
I'd love a game. I like a game. I'd like Cashier Number 4, please. Or I just work in a post office.
Really?
And I serve
Humdrum
people. I'd
games.
love that. Yeah. Top up your nectar card.
Be a good game to re-stick the sat-nav back on the windscreen if it's got one of those slightly difficult suction things. You know when a sat-nav gets old and it just keeps...
Oh,
When a sat-nav gets old, there'd be a great ITV documentary.
You should put
And
that
now
in
Richard
car games,
Madeley
though.
with When a Sat-Nav Gets... We all drive regularly, but I guess we're reaching a time now where sat-navs, they felt like a new thing, and now they're not such a new thing. That sucker on the back, is that going to last forever? Well, let's have a look. And then some clips.
It's not.
Some clips of it
I
falling
like
off.
the idea of that piece to camera on a busy dual carriageway, maybe, Frank, with a scarf blowing in the breeze.
I mean, the only way to get round the suction thing getting old is to get a car that's got built-in sat-nav, but not everyone wants that, do they?
No, well, I've got one of those.
Of course you do.
You can text my car.
You can text your car?
Text my car and,
Shut
and it'll put in a destination.
Wow.
Fabulous.
It's amazing.
Never
what they
text
can do
back,
now,
though.
isn't it?
All right, Alan Partridge.
What about, I had an idea for a sort of TV game show called...
I like it when you launch shows on here.
Yeah. It's called When Workmates Blossom.
Oh, yeah.
And people come in and talk about people who they've worked with and been quite plain for years, you know, male or female. You know that? You know when
When workmates blossom.
I honestly thought this was going to be a gardening show.
You know when someone comes in and you think, well, they're looking
They've
good.
blossomed.
Yeah, they're looking good.
Who's this directed at?
Have you seen Dave? He's lost a bit of weight. You seen Sue's new hairstyle? She looks great. Never really noticed that. And then people come in and they bring videos before and after of workmates who've lost their life.
Videos, has to be VHS it.
Yeah, definitely VHS.
Can't download clips
From
or
the early
anything.
days. No downloading. Oh, anyway, look, that's about all. Thank you so much for listening. Mark Crossley is coming up next, and if the good Lord spares us and the creeks don't rise, we'll be back again this time next week. Thank you, Manchester, for having us. Now get out.
The Frank Skinner Show on Absolute Radio. Back Saturday morning from 8. Tune in live for the full Frank experience.
Absolute Radio.